Welcome to the State of the City show in Grand Prairie, Texas. We're so excited to be with you today, and we have two of the most important gentlemen in Grand Prairie that run the city. Welcome, Mayor Ron Jensen.
Good to be here, Georgia.
And our city manager, Tom Hart.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's great to have you, and it's great to have a wonderful topic like the city of Grand Prairie to talk about.
A lot of fun right now.
Yes. Mayor, I know there are so many things going on, and so many things happened in 2017. We could review some of those if
Sure.
you would like to.
Sure.
I think that one of the biggest things that we all enjoyed and talked about for a long time was IKEA. Tell us a little bit about IKEA.
Well, I think it's important to go back in history, and when we opened up the George Bush Turnpike, we knew something big was going to happen. We'd waited a long time for it, even though the frontage roads were on and open and people were traveling along it. The development wasn't going to come until the link was made and the main lanes were open, so you could get all the way up north and everything on the George Bush Turnpike. So we felt like a big box would come to the intersection of I-20 and 161, and lo and behold it did, IKEA. I don't know that we could have asked for a bigger draw than that, because we've got the regional draw with the premium outlet mall, and now IKEA, which would be considered a regional mall because they don't build very many of them. So it can be our base with Epic Waters, Epic Central Park, the synergy that's provided around that little circle right in the middle of the Metroplex. We're going, and you see it right now. The dirt is moving. There's more dirt moving right now in the city of Grand Prairie than ever before, with construction going up, retail, restaurants, and just open space for people to lease. So it's an exciting time.
It is. We've always had what you mentioned at our State of the City, location, location, location.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the available land, but we just didn't have the access until now, did we?
You're right, and it's not only the George Bush Turnpike, this extension to 360. I think people are going to be surprised. Opens up about 1,200 acres south of I-20. Of course, Arlington has some good acreage. Mansfield has some good acreage, but we'll all three of us will benefit from the extension of 360, and a lot of our growth is down south. So I can't wait to get the main lanes open on 360 and see what developments will be happening along that. In addition, you have it on your list, my goodness, the frontage roads. How exciting. For years and years and years, we have not had frontage roads on I-30 and I-20. Finally, we're getting frontage roads along I-30 and on I-20 to give us access. You have to have access to have good development, and that access opens it up to a lot of acreage along I-30 and I-20. So we're going to have a few years here to ride a great wave, because retailers are looking for spots. The state of Texas is outgrowing the nation. Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is leading in the state of Texas, so we're growing faster than anybody else, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So it's a great time to be here, and we're right in the middle of it.
Yes, it is exciting. And Mr. Hart, just tell us a little bit. The mayor mentioned I-30 frontage roads, and I know that you had gotten a plan, and you talked about dreams for that area. Can you give us a little info on that?
I can, and I know there's a little gig there, because we've kind of laughed about this. You know, we all like to think we dream big, but I think a very good move that the city made in 17 was to bring on a professional firm, happened to be named OmniPlan, and we said, let's get some outside eyes to help us look and see what the possibilities are. And we've now got the plan back in, and now that we've seen it, we all kind of, especially me, I have to admit, I said, wow, we weren't dreaming big enough. What they pointed out is that land the mayor's talking about along 30, and especially after you add the service roads, that is minutes from downtown Dallas, minutes from downtown Fort Worth, minutes from DFW Airport. They think that can become a node, what they use that term, node between Dallas and Fort Worth, that can be a significant economic impact area there, with mid-rise type apartments, housing, retail, entertainment, lifestyle living, a vertical. And I think maybe, you know, I think that's probably the change. I think so many of us have lived and worked in towns that we've just kind of been that flat urban suburb, and now all of a sudden, and if I can borrow some of your words, you know, we've got what, 7-8 million people on the Metroplex, and they're saying another several million coming. How far out can you go and drive in? So what's going to happen, we're going to start seeing vertical development, and so Grand Prairie can be like you're seeing in the Plano and the Addison and downtown Dallas and area, and that's huge for us. I think it does a lot of things. Not only does it develop that area, and let's see, what district is that in?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember.
Let me remind you.
It's District 1, if I
It
remember.
is.
And
I'm so
who's our
excited.
council member in District?
Councilmember Clemson.
Uh-huh. But everybody's excited about
Oh,
this.
yes.
But it's not only for that little area right there. Think about this. If that starts happening, you can see a lot of young people that would live there and, say, work in Dallas. Well, you know, and later they're going to want a house. All of a sudden you start seeing that evolve back. You know, even though everybody likes the new stuff, they still like the old. I can see this having an impact, helping us bring the downtown area back to life that we're working so hard.
Yes.
So I think we've got some really interesting things facing Grand Prairie.
We do. It's very exciting. And Mayor, I know that you are a huge supporter of our parks. Could you give us some of their accomplishments this year and some of the plans that they have as well?
Well, of course, our Parks Department won gold again. That's huge. There's only a very, very few cities that have ever won, and we've won it twice. Then we became CAPRA certified. Again, only a few cities in the nation in their Parks Departments have received the CAPRA certification. But what our Parks Department and our team, and just forget about the park lands we have fascinating park lands, but our Parks Department, the things they put on throughout the year to engage our citizens is phenomenal. If you just came to our events that they put on year round, it's just phenomenal. We've got a couple of big ones coming up. We have the great event coming up on March 24th to engage volunteers to do community projects, and then later in late February, April, we do the main event. I mean, not
Main
Main Street
Main
Fest.
Fest.
Yeah,
Yes.
Main Street Fest. So I want a main event to come to Grand Prairie. So we got lots of, the Parks Department just does a great job.
Oh, they do. And of course, their huge accomplishment this year was the opening of our Epic Waters.
Absolutely. It's already winning awards in the top 8 in the nation by Travel Channel, and number 2 in the state of Texas for indoor water parks. So as we said last night, if you're going to go on a weekend, you better get there early because it maxes out on Saturdays by about noon. So go Monday through Thursday.
Right, and then right next door for the 2018, we have the Epic Recreation Center.
Right,
Tell
it's the
us
Mega
about it.
Recreation Center.
Yes.
It's 120,000 square feet, yoga, a lounge area, culinary arts, artists in resident, a video and sound studio. It has an exact duplicate of the Kessler Theater in Oak Cliff. We have a theater inside the Epic just like it. We'll have entertainment there. Of course, it has your regular things, free weights, workout space, $1 million worth of workout equipment, a walking trail, an inclined walking trail, basketball courts, futsal. We're going to have futsal. I bet we'll probably fit in some pickleball courts
There you
in
go.
there. So it's just crazy. It's not just a fitness center. You'll be able to have birthday parties. We have Epic Waters next door, but the Epic will have its own water area, lap, resistance swimming, but a little kid play zone to where you'd want to have the younger children, maybe 2, 3-year-old birthday parties, because it's a kid zone play area. And three playrooms there for we'll be birthday party central for the whole metroplex.
Oh yes, and you did mention in that same area, of course, excuse me, the amphitheater, where we'll have our first concert at the end of the big event.
Sure.
That evening on the 24th.
Well, of course, the dream for the what is now Epic Central, you can't have a great park venue without a grand lawn. And we have 5.5 acres, a grand lawn. When we're not having a theater or a show or something happening, you'll be able to take your kids, your dogs, play frisbee, lay out, just do a lot of things in the parkland. But it will, for concerts, we'll be able to seat 3,000 to 5,000, depending on how we want to seat them, if we want to have chairs or just blankets. And of course, March 24th, the evening of that, will be our first free concert, open to the public, starts about 6 o'clock, Vocal Trash and Memphis Soul. We'll kick it off.
Oh, it's going to be great. I'm excited about that and looking forward to that. And then, in addition, I know we're talking a lot about parks, but it's a big thing for us right now, the Playground Adventures.
Playground Adventures has been near and dear to all our hearts. It's a all-inclusive playground. Round Rock has one down right outside of Austin, in Round Rock, of course, and they say people come, busloads of kids schools will bring them there from 50 miles around. Ours is going to be much bigger. It's going to open up in the summer of 2019. We'll start construction later this year, and it'll be free, open to the public. It will not be open year-round, but when it is open, it'll be free, and it's going to be a park that those with handicaps will be able to go through it and ride rides. But here's the neat thing: they'll be able to ride rides with their siblings or their mother and dad or brothers and sisters that aren't handicapped. They can ride rides together for the first time in their lives. So, and we're looking for donations. We have enough money from the city and from the bond election to get started, and we've already raised $770,000 of additional money to buy more equipment. So this is a way for the community to get involved and make a donation on a feel-good activity. So Playground Adventures. Stay tuned.
Very exciting. And Mr. Hart, could you talk to us about excuse me, could you talk to us about our police and fire? We're so proud of our police and fire and their accomplishments this past year.
Oh, well, can't say enough. Let's start with fire. You know, when we talk about awards, I mean, we're always proud to do that, but what do those awards mean? It's, you know, it's not just like in the parks, a gold medal that sits on the shelf. Our citizens are out enjoying those facilities. And now I'm going to talk about what happened to the fire last year. Well, they got moved to something called an ISO 1, and that is a designation where they come in and rate our fire department, our water system, our communications system, and they give you a rating 1 to 10. What does that mean to a citizen out there? The lower that rating, the better insurance rate they get. So we're talking about dollars back to our citizens. We went from a 3 to a 1, and out of 19-something thousand cities in the United States, there's only 200 and something that have designation 1. Very few in the Metroplex. This is huge, and it's a compliment to our fire department and our water department and our communications. But they've worked hard for that. And what does that mean? That means the equipment and the people are there to respond. Something very dear to my heart is going back when I came here 19 years ago. I asked the council what some priorities were. One of them was emergency medicine. Well, let me tell you something. I This is a service that we offer out there now that, quite frankly, I hope you never need.
Right.
I hope you never need. But what you have is the availability. We've created, the men and women in our fire department have created a level of service that has also won an award. And we're one of the few cities that, God forbid, you have a heart attack here, you will be on a cath lab table at a hospital within a certain length of time that only a few cities can offer. And you've heard, I'm sure, over the years, people talk about that time that makes a difference. Well, we've been given that designation, and I just want to tell you how proud I am of those folks out there. When you look around our city, we now have 10 fire stations scattered around. Those fire stations have engines, ambulances, and ladders in there. Not all of them have all, but they're around. We have 10 engines, we have 7 frontline ambulances. Those are staffed 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, with 2 full paramedics on them. Not just the ambulances, but those fire trucks and those ladders. 2 paramedics and all of the equipment. So that's what can make a difference. So I want to tell you, I hope I never need it. I hope my family never needs it. But boy, that is a nice comfort to me to know that that's out there. So now, police, they have worked so hard to establish the community policing, and it is making a difference. Our police department is out there being proactive. They're out in the neighborhoods talking to people. They're going into the community and addressing issues. They are making a difference to the point that our crime statistics are down. If I remember, it was like 30%. It's significant. It's huge. That makes me feel good also as a resident. What's important to a resident? They want to feel safe. And our police department is doing one heck of a job on that. And they are creating an image out there that people, you know, police has gotten some really bad knocks from around the country, and in some cases deserve. But there are departments out there like ours that are led by people that have a true vision and caring, and they are hiring the right people. They're putting the right training with those people so that they're equipped to make those decisions. They're putting the right equipment with them. I mean, not only do our police officers now carry body cams, our code inspectors carry them. And you know, that's good for the citizens, but it's also good for our officers. I've had to view those tapes one time, and somebody complained about one of our officers. And after I looked at it, I went, you got to be kidding me. I mean, what it did was it made me want to go give that police officer a hug and say, I don't know how you compose yourself, but thank you.
Right.
Thank you. So our police and fire are delivering services at a higher level than probably about any place in the United States.
And
Right.
very well equipped.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. You covered that very nicely, Mr. Hart. And while you're on a roll, why don't you go ahead and tell us about Proposition A?
Oh, thank you. Economic development. I mean, as the mayor was talking, we are spending a huge amount of time. A significant amount of my time is now spent with that. And Mayor, you're right in there with your sleeves rolled up with us on these things.
And Marty Weeder.
Oh my gosh, yes. We brought Marty in from Colleyville, and he has been wow. He's been like a bright star, and we've needed him. There's so much going on. But we own property. The city has property that we own around the community. And that property has value, and we're trying to maximize that value. So a couple of years ago we asked, or a year or two ago we asked the voters to give us the ability, if it happened to be parkland and it was in the best interest of the city, to be able to sell that, like to do a hotel on that. Well, there's also times, for various reasons, that you don't want to sell it. You want to keep it and do a lease, and there are reasons for that. But what happened as we got into these deals, and it's been multiple situations around the city, our charter has a provision in it that limits us to a 30-year lease. So the problem we've run into, that if you want to do, and let me give you a couple of examples. Right now, there are real-life hotel deals we're working on that our city would really like to have, and it's better to do it in a lease situation. We can only do a 30-year lease, and they're having trouble getting financing with that. This would remove that. So Proposition A is a proposition that if you vote for that, it will remove that prohibition of going beyond 30 years. Our research shows there are a couple of other cities in the Metroplex that have it, but most don't. So we've got handcuffs on that are keeping us from doing the best deal. And something the mayor mentioned in his speech the other night was that anytime we sell the property or lease the property, if it's parkland, we're going to keep it in the park system. So what we're trying to do in some cases is actually create funding mechanisms that will help operate these facilities and parks down the road without our citizens having to bear that cost. So that is why we can't say vote for it, but those are the reasons that we've put it on the ballot, and I hope people will look at it very carefully.
Yes, thank you so much. And Mayor, you know, most of the people in Grand Prairie want to know some very basic things. They want to know they're safe. They want to know about the parks. They want to know, are we ever going to get any good restaurants?
Well, I sure hope so. Of course, we were only able to announce a couple last night, El Phoenix and Olive Garden, which we don't have either, so I'll take both of them. And we're working on some other ones. And when we're talking about these restaurants, I'd like Tom and I both to kind of tag team on the vision we have for around the Summit and the Epic and the ponds there. The development I showed last night at the State of the City, we have, the vision is to create a little boardwalk area, 3 restaurants in there. That we are negotiating with 3 restaurants. We just can't announce them right now. But you can go sit out on the plaza, watch a concert across the ponds, watch the sunset, or you can dine in. But that meet and greet, we want a hotel there with a conference center with 3 restaurants. If you've ever been to Trinity Groves, the restaurants would be lined up kind of sort of like that, all under the same roof, but divided into 3 sections. And we hope to have that finalized where we could announce it later this year and break ground in early 2019 with a hotel with a conference center adjacent to it and 3 restaurants right there along the George Bush Turnpike. It's going to be beautiful, and the rendering we showed the people last night was just fantastic. So that's our great vision for that area, with 3 dine-in or set outside restaurants like our other communities around have. So it's very exciting.
Yes. And I should have rephrased that question. Are we going to get more good restaurants?
No,
we do have good restaurants.
We're underserved.
But we
make
are.
no mistake about it. We're
Yes.
underserved in restaurants. I mean, and the restaurants that are here are pretty busy.
They are indeed.
They are. People love to go out to eat.
Yes.
You know, back when you and I were growing up, Georgia, our families probably went out one night a week, maybe.
Right.
It was Friday night. They went out and
to the Prairie Dog.
Yes, wherever. It didn't matter. Or bought pizza to go. Every other night we ate at home.
Right.
Well, families, their entertainment now is out to eat, strolling, doing a little shopping. Much different than when we grew up. And so we need to have. I want for our citizens what our neighboring cities have.
Yes.
I don't want us to have to go to our neighboring cities to get things.
Yes.
Will we still drive someplace to go eat? Of course we will. But I want the other communities to have reasons to come and eat at our place and be part of the mix. So we're working really hard on that. We want things we ain't got.
And there are already some, like you mentioned those 2, but there are some other smaller restaurants.
Oh yeah,
that
there's
are coming as
a
well.
Jimmy John's, a Chipotle, a Potbelly's.
Jason's Deli.
Jason's
Love
Deli. Finally,
that.
we've had their warehouse here forever, but now
Yes.
we're going to open up a Jason's Deli. So another Starbucks, another Chick-fil-A, Panda Express. Finally, we're getting a Panda Express, and I've had to drive to the one over on Cockrell Hill once a month to get my fix on it, you know, so we'll finally have one. So a lot of those, yes.
That's good. That's good news for everybody, and everybody likes to know about that.
It's
Yes,
a
sir.
step further, though. What we're trying to create out at the Epic is, it was a term that actually the OmniPlan people made me understand. They said people are looking now, they want to go out to eat, but they want an experience. So if we can have not only the restaurants that serve good food, but if we could have a place where people can go out and, I mean, picture this. Your kids are in a paddle boat out there in the lake, and you're sitting out on the
Right.
you're sitting out on the patio, and later when you finish, you walk across the bridge to that concert. That's the kind of experience we're talking about. So,
We
Very
want
exciting.
we want the experience that when people go to where everybody's going to Fort Worth now. You have it, you dine, you don't go back and get in the car. You stroll. You go to get Steel City Pops. I'd love a Steel City Pops here. It doesn't have to be Steel City. Somebody wants to come sell popsicles in Grand Prairie, come call me, you know. But that mix to where they stay for 4 hours. They may only eat for an hour and a half, 2 hours, but they stay for 4 hours. Watch the kids, have a drink with friends, sit out on the patio. We want that experience for our people, for our
Yes.
citizens.
and you know, sum it up what your goal is, Mayor, and that is we're trying to create a quality of life. That's the whole thing. I mean, our parks program, our rec programs, our special events, you know, having the public safety system, creating these, it's a quality of life.
You're
We
right.
want people to be proud they live in Grand Prairie. We want them to come to Grand Prairie. And that doesn't say we're still going to go to Arlington occasionally for something, because we're not going to duplicate everything.
Right.
We want to be unique. And I think we're heading that way.
That is so exciting, gentlemen. And we're so proud of both of you and the jobs that you're doing for our city and for our citizens.
It's a fun time to be
Is-
in these
Having a great
jobs.
time.
Isn't it a great time to live, work, or play in Grand Prairie, or really just be in Grand Prairie, whatever you do?
It is.
It is. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we're looking forward with great expectations for the things to come for our city.
Thanks. We are too.
Thank you for having us. It's fun to work with this council and mayor. They all have a passion and an energy. So
It's exciting. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you for joining us. I'm Georgia Clemson. Thank you for being here today.